Hello and welcome to the tabletop explanation of our board game, which is called Withered, created by Ellie Howden, hopefully I'm saying that right, Elijah Mansour, um, Dutai Nguyen, and Nicholas Thurn Valacina. I hope I'm pronouncing those right. So we'll get to it. Alright, so here's the game rules of how to play. So the villain starts the game by rolling the dice and placing traps down depending on how much he or she is allowed to place down. Then after the traps are down, the players can start and vice versa. Alright, what the board game contains. So the board game there'll be two boards, one for the survivor and one for the villain. The amount of tool cards for the players will be 55 tool cards, 55 backfire cards. For inhibitor cards for the villain, there'll be 45, and for sabotage cards, there'll be 45. For secret cards for the players, there'll be 45, and secret cards for the villain will be 25. Sabotage token pieces, which will be red, will have contain 40 of them, and item token pieces will be in orange, and there'll be 4 of them. And there'll be 2 pairs of 1 to 6 dice, so one for the survivors, and one for the villain. So the way to set up. So the game will contain 2 boards, one for the villain and one for the players. The villain's map will not have a token piece like the players. Instead, he or she will place traps on his board, where the players cannot see where they are placed. So think of battleships in a way. The villain will call out when a player has landed on a trap, and it's the player's turn to either choose to use a card to counter it, if he or she has any, or to take the hit. And here are the cards. So for the play cards, there's tool cards, backfire cards, and secret cards. For the villain, there's sabotage cards, inhibitor cards, and secret cards. And speaking of cards, this is how you attain it in the game. So the situation with the player, so the player's board will have card symbols on some tiles. All they have to do is land on it, and they can just pick up 2 cards. The villain does not have a token piece, so instead the villain will roll the dice to determine if he or she can draw cards and place down traps. So this is how it will work. So if the villain rolls a 3 and a 5, for example, he can choose whether to pick up 3 cards or put down 3 cards. With the number 5, he can either choose whether to pick up 5 cards or put down 5 traps. So that's he can switch the numbers if he wants to. And here are the mechanics of the game. So there'll be 2 to 5 players against the chosen monster, which could be any one of you. And it's the player's job to create a weapon to kill the beast, to escape, or create a ritual to lift the curse and escape. This is how the villain can win. So the monster can win by placing traps and manipulating the environment to delay the player's approach to getting the items. If they land on a trap, they have to roll a certain number to escape the trap or be risked to get killed. The monster can also win by sabotaging the player's plans as much as possible until time runs out, as the board will progressively get smaller and smaller, so he can either wait it out or kill them. So this is how the villain can kill the players. So the killer will have 2 types of lethal cards in his deck and can select one player that he wants to hurt. Players cannot counter this card. And the killer is not allowed to go for the same person twice in a row. However, if he hurts another player, the player that he hit before him can be hit again. So lethal traps. In the inhibitor deck, there will be lethal cards if the villain uses it to attack another survivor. The player and the villain must roll for the highest number. If the villain rolls higher than the player, then the player takes a hit and loses a life. So this is how the player can win. So the player can win by collecting the required items to either kill the monster or prepare a ritual to escape. Alright, so here's the box and rulebook design. This was made by Tai, or she likes to be called Alex. So she's done it's my first time looking at this. Very well done. I'll just read through. So the time, yeah, based on the time, because we played 2 gameplays so far, it takes roughly 30 to 1 hour. 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending on what game mode you choose. So in a short game, scissors close off area each round. Medium game, scissors close off area each 3 rounds. And for a longer game, scissors close off area each 5 rounds. And that's it for the presentation. Happy playing and thank you for listening, and good luck. I also just wanted to shout out to Ellie for doing the drawings for the cards and the board. She did an amazing job, and that's what she mainly did for the project. So without her, none of those drawings would have happened. So I just want to chuck that out there.